The Arapaho are a tribe of Native Americans historically living on the plains of Colorado and Wyoming. They were close allies of the Cheyenne tribe and loosely aligned with the Lakota and Dakota. The Arapaho language, Heenetiit, is an Algonquin language closely related to Gros Ventre, whose people are seen as an early offshoot of the Arapaho. Blackfeet and Cheyenne are the other Algonquin speakers on the plains, but the languages are quite different from Arapaho. By the 1850s, Arapaho bands formed two tribes, the Northern Arapaho and Southern Arapaho. Since 1878, the Northern Arapaho have lived with the Eastern Shoshone on the Wind River Reservation in Wyoming and are federally recognized as the Arapaho tribe of the Wind River Reservation. The Southern Arapaho live with the Southern Cheyenne in Oklahoma. Together, the members are enrolled as the federally recognized Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes. Name: it is uncertain where the word Arapaho came from. It may have come from the Pawnee word for trader, Arapaho, or it may have been a corruption of a Crow word for tattoo. The Arapaho autonym is Hinonoino or Inanina. When referring to the tribe, they use Hinonoitine. They were also known as Hitanwoiva Hetnavoo by the Cheyenne allies, Mapayato by Dakota, Mapayutho by Lakota, and Assiniboine. The Caddo called them Detsekaya, the Wichita near Harris Kuriki were Husky, and the Comanche Sariaturka, Saratika, all names signifying dog-eaters. To Pawnee, Ute and other tribes they were also known as dog-eaters. The Northern Arapaho, who called themselves Nankhansanananukosarianeno, were known as Buntkleinnanaboochineno to the Southern Arapaho, whereas the latter were called by the Northern Kinnawathinafaranuneno. The Northern Arapaho were also known as Bakuuna. The Cheyenne adapted the Arapaho terms and referred to the Northern Arapaho as Vanohet and Vanohetaneo, Vanoetaneo people, and to the Southern Arapaho as Nomsanata Nomsaneo. Historic, political and dialect Arapaho divisions and bands. The Arapaho recognize among themselves 5 main divisions, each speaking a different dialect and apparently representing as many originally distinct but cognate tribes. Through much of Arapaho history, each tribal nation maintained a separate ethnic identity, although they occasionally came together and acted as political allies. Each also spoke mutually intelligible dialects, but there existed a degree of difference from Arapaho proper. Dialectically, the Hananan, Bizo Uneno, and Hinonoino were closely related. Arapaho elders claimed that the Hanaho'uena dialect was the most difficult to comprehend of all the dialects. In the classic ethnographic study, Alfred Kroeber identified these 5 nations from south to north: Nanwachina-Hana, Nawathinafa, and Nanwanan, nor were 3 Hino. The now extinct language dialect, Nwathinena, was the most divergent from the other Arapaho tribes. Hanaho'uena, Hananaxo'unan, or Anamha were occupying territory adjacent to, but further north of the Nanwachina-Hana, spoke the now extinct Hanaho'unena dialect. Hinonoino or Hananyanan. They spoke the Arapaho language. Bizo Uneno, Bazanwu Unana Baso Unena, resided further north of the Hinonoino. The war parties used temporary brush shelters like the dome-shaped Shade Sweat Lodge of the Great Lakes Algonquin peoples. They are said to have left their old homes more recently than the other Arapaho tribes. They spoke the now extinct Biso Unena dialect. Ananan Anyanin or Ani, the northernmost tribal group that would retain their ethnic distinctiveness as the historic Gros Ventre or Atsina, also called Piaxic Siina snakes, i.e. enemies, after the division therein. The other Arapaho peoples, who considered them inferior, called them Hitunena or Hitiwenina. They speak the nearly extinct Gros Ventre language dialect. There is evidence that the southern southern Heenetiit tribal group, the Statan Band, together with bands of the later political division of the northern Arapaho, spoke the Besuunena dialect. Before the historic geopolitical ethnogenesis, each tribal nation had a principal headman. The exact date of the ethnic fusion or fission of each social division is not known, but elders state that the Hinono and Besuuneno fought over the tribal symbols, the sacred pipe and lance. Both sacred objects traditionally were kept by the Besuuneno. The different tribal nations lived together, and the Besuuneno have dispersed for at least 150 years among the former distinct Arapaho tribal groups. By the late 18th century, the four divisions south of the Heenetiit and Gros Ventre consolidated into the Arapaho, so that only the Arapaho and Gros Ventre were recognized as separate tribal nations. While living on the Great Plains, the Hinono divided historically into two geopolitical social divisions. Northern Arapaho and Anghansainan, Nokosarian are called by the Southern Arapaho Berseneno or Barchinena. The Kiowa know them as Taglico, a translation of the proper name. They keep the sacred tribal articles, and are considered the nucleus or mother tribe of the Arapaho, being indicated in the Plains Indian Sign Language by the sign for mother people. They absorbed the historic Anahuuena and Besuuneno. There are still about 50 people of Besuuneno lineage among the northern Arapaho, and perhaps a few with the other two main divisions. Southern Arapaho, Nawunena and Nouneno, are called by the northern Arapaho Nwathenefa. The Kiowa know them as Ahayadal, the name for the wild plum. The sign for the southern Arapaho is made by rubbing the index finger against the side of the nose. They absorbed the historic Namwan and Norwo 3 Hino and some Besuuneno.